I understand that the state is asking that you truthfully testify at all hearings and proceedings and trials involving the co-defendants in this matter, and that you have no communication with co-defendants, media, or witnesses until this case has been completely closed against all defendants.
I do.
I do. I told you at the top of the broadcast, that was the most significant part. And if you have been through many of these legal sagas, and the former president has certainly catalyzed and sparked far more court cases and legal sagas than any other president in American history, then you may recall that sometimes people will plead and not cooperate. You may recall in the Mueller probe, there were people who were tied to all sorts of things, and they tried to strike deals, but they didn't always say those words, I do, and I will testify. And that's why tonight is a sudden and significant change, and one being noticed certainly by Jack Smith's investigators, certainly by everyone following these cases, certainly as everyone gears up for a criminal trial that as of now is still scheduled to begin next week against Chesebro. So what kind of witness will this now flipped convict, Sidney Powell, be? Well, we have a little bit of a set of clues. I talked a little bit before about how there's vintage kind of old school Powell, and there's the more cooperative Powell now. This is the most cooperative she's ever been under duress. But we also know how she sounded when she did provide testimony, which is different, of course, than some Trump aides who took that fight all the way to court, Bannon and Navarro. She did provide testimony in the Jan 6 House probe.
He asked Pat Cipollone if he had the authority to name me special counsel, and he said yes. And then he asked him if he had the authority to give me whatever security clearance I needed, and Pat Cipollone said yes. Cipollone and or Hirschman and whoever the other young man was said, you can name her whatever you want to name her, and no one's going to pay any attention to it.
Now, that's one lawyer describing what another lawyer said, and best we understand it, and the committee spoke to this, much of what she said about those details they found useful. They found it reasonably credible. The question then becomes, will she be forthcoming, and will this be the same type of Powell when prosecutors want to pin down more details on Trump? Because remember, there's what happened, and there's also why it happened. Did you do the bad thing, and why did you do the bad thing? And to prove a case against anyone, and especially a former president, where juries might give an extra amount of deference as a human matter, they're not legally supposed to, but let's live in the real world, it's very important for prosecutors to prove that why. And we've heard in many cases, Trump and his lawyers, when he is caught really pinned down on the bad thing, whatever it might be, whatever case, say, well, even if the bad thing went down, that wasn't his criminal intent. He was just relying on the advice of counsel.
What he's being indicted for ultimately is following legal advice from an esteemed scholar, John Eastman. Everything that Mr. Trump requested to be done was done with the advice of counsel, was done with lawyers giving him advice. You're entitled to believe and trust advice of counsel.
That is a current Trump lawyer, I should mention, who has been involved in the defense in the Jack Smith case, both the classified docs case and the coup case there. So he's also been poring over documents that involve Powell. And you heard the defense there. Powell is a Trump attorney. Her pleading right now and basically saying she will cooperate and that there were crimes undercuts that advice of counsel defense in the RICO case. Because she's convicted of one crime, she got out from the others. Her testimony can bolster the prosecutor's point that this was Trump's plot, that he had criminal intent, that he, they say, was informed on all of this and went forward to do it. Not the advice of counsel defense that he was just sitting around and lawyers did things or advised him to do things, and that is the way, the direction, right? Was it his intent to do it and it was a bad thing, like I said, or was it someone else's idea and then a lawyer who, yes, in government and other circles, you do listen to lawyers up to a point, set it into him? So no one knows whether Powell ultimately will be scorched earth, will be as tough as possible on Donald Trump. I want to be clear with you as we try to understand this. There are scenarios where someone can argue they're telling the truth and get away with sort of a broader version of it. In court, for example, the prosecutor says, well, did it then become clear that he was trying to steal the election? And they say, look, I don't know, I can only tell you this, this, and that. And other people who would give more forthcoming testimony say, well, that was my understanding. Seemed like he wanted to steal the election and he knew exactly what he was asking. We don't know which exact power we will get, but we do know all the pressure is on her to fulfill her plea agreement, not to break it. When you look at this, do you think she's going to go pretty far because there's plenty of seemingly incriminating stories to tell, or she's going to do the bare minimum to just get her deal done?
I don't think, no, look, first off, she's a lawyer. She wants to, by taking the misdemeanor pleas, it's clear that she wants to remain a lawyer. Whether or not that will happen, it remains to be seen by the states in which she's admitted to the bar. But she didn't want to throw that all down the drain. And I think that she took this on knowing that she had to be truthful, and they're gonna wring that towel dry. This is somebody who was in the room, who can set the stage, who can say, what did he say to him and what did he say to her? And this is really important testimony that she has to give.
What do you think of the Trump lawyers' response today, which we mentioned before? And in fairness, I want to note they are arguing that if it's truthful, it will be, quote, favorable to their defense strategy. It's hard to square that with some of what she said in the Jan 6, et cetera, but go ahead.
I saw that. I'm kind of scratching my head. I guess it can only be, going back to the other statements you played by Trump's lawyers, that they're looking to put out based on advice of counsel defense, which it's really tough to do that, particularly when you appreciate the fact that it's nuts. As they said, this is not, the whole scheme. And on top of that, I don't know how much of what Sidney Powell was talking about is really advice of counsel so much as it is advice of somebody who wants to overturn the election, and it's bereft of any sort of real legal advice. So I think they have trying to read the tea leaves on what he's saying that is going to be helpful. All the evidence that we've seen publicly released, I don't see it being helpful to the defense. And frankly, as Maya pointed out, look, I think the prosecutors in this case have really combed through this. They're right on the verge of going to trial. They've had to think this through. And so they wouldn't have signed her up to this deal, which, by the way, I think is a pretty damn good deal for Sidney Powell.
Clearly.
And I don't think they would have given her that gift if they didn't see that she had a big gift to give to them.